Welcome to Blue Dirt, the podcast that digs deep into the foundation of commercial real estate investing. Unlike most real estate shows that focus on deal making and market trends, Blue Dirt gets into the nuts and bolts of what truly builds long-term value, the building itself. We break down how to spot deferred maintenance before it costs you, why a solid preventative maintenance program is a game changer, and how triple net leases can maximize your investment returns. We'll also explore the importance of strong landlord-tenant relationships and how they drive stability and growth in your portfolio. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just getting started, Blue Dirt gives you the practical knowledge to make smarter, more profitable decisions in commercial real estate. It's time to get your hands dirty and build value from the ground up. Let's dig in.
I'm Don Redhead with Blue Commercial Properties, and this is Jesse with, what would we call it? Is it Carro Asset Management, Carro Properties?
Carro Properties.
Asset Manager with Carro Properties, but he happens to have a Airbnb that he does and thought, because Carro ditched me in the last second after I already set everything up. He says that apparently he can't make it and he's in the front conference room. So we're going to go ahead and still record something for Adam, our friend, and the listeners out there. And one thing that I had done, or at least seen a lot of other people get into, a lot of people kind of get into real estate with residential. And one thing we see a lot of course, is Airbnb. And our podcast, of course, is about commercial real estate investing. But sometimes you may have, and maybe I'll let you kind of go into some of the other ones in your experience or what you guys have worked with, that may be their first step into kind of their investing market, right? They may have an extra house. They may have something extra, like a studio apartment, maybe above a garage or something like that, that they can turn into start making money. And it can be their first step into commercial real estate investing. So I guess kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and as well as what you have been your experience with Airbnb. I think you guys have done a pretty good job and have learned some of the maybe small details, but what are some of the items that if somebody is saying, hey, I think this qualifies for Airbnb, maybe they should look at in advance to getting outside, getting ahead of their skis, so to say. So tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your experience, all that fun jazz.
Well, before we do that, there's a great example I have for your first part of that questioning, which was, how do people get started? How does this relate to commercial? And I have a prime example. We have our Airbnbs in a row of Airbnb. There's 4 lots with 4 lots behind us, and every single one is investing in a rental.
Okay. So the whole pocket already is
that whole block.
Okay.
So it's very saturated. But we have one neighbor who's never done any investing in real property at all. He just bought his house for himself, happened to have an apartment above the garage like ours, exact same floor plan. And he turned it into an Airbnb after consulting with my wife and I, because we had been running our apartment as an Airbnb for some time. And so he recently reached out and says, hey, this has been really lucrative. It's also been really fun. We're looking at maybe getting some commercial spaces. Maybe we could lease those out. And he goes, I know you guys know people in the commercial real estate industry. Is that something viable for us? And so something as simple as starting as residential investing has now broadened their eyes to what is possible when it comes to real property and making money leasing or buying.
Yeah. Because that one typically, like I said, is your first, residential, because most people either live in a house or an apartment, something like that. So it's just much more approachable. A lot of people, if they're starting in commercial, it is, unless you have someone that you're maybe partnering with, or maybe you've leased space in the past, it does seem a bit overwhelming. So when you guys bought that residence, did it already have the garage with it? Because that's what it sounds like you guys have. You guys have an apartment above a garage. Did it already have that there? Did you guys build that out?
No. We, in our investigation into purchasing a home into the western side of Pensacola, we noticed that there was one builder specifically that was building a very common looking new kind of row house, that typical look, board and batten that we're seeing pop up all over. But this one builder was building a 2-car garage detached and he was putting a 450 square foot apartment above it. And we noticed he was also building it with a separate meter, separate address. Now, water, there was one caveat that the city wouldn't allow, which was separate water. So it doesn't have its own water meter. But it gave us an instant opportunity to either keep it as a guest house or turn it into an income generating part of the property.
Okay.
And so we sought out after it, and it was being built. We made our bid. We won the bid. And
so this is all brand new, right?
Brand new construction. Yeah.
You guys most likely just had to furnish it, prepare it for that. Now, when you guys were beginning the journey of getting it set up did you guys consider going short-term rental versus
long-term?
Absolutely. Okay. So what was your how did you weigh out the pros and cons of that?
Well, you really got to look at what you're willing to, is this an investment property or is it your primary residence and extra space? So for us, we live in the front house, which is detached. So we really wanted to weigh the factors of there are going to be strangers less than 10 feet from you at any given time.
Right.
Versus one tenant for a long period. And then we started weighing out the price. And if you want a very stable, every month you get a check, you know the person, you know their habits, that's a great way to just have that extra income that can help you with your mortgage or whatever your needs are. But it's much, much more lucrative to go short term.
Okay.
I mean, you in 1 month, this small 450 square foot apartment can generate 3 to 6 times what a long-term tenant will pay you for 1 month of rent.
Okay. And what is, obviously that I have to assume there is a weight to that on the opposite side. What are some of the things? Why is it 6 times, 4 times, whatever it is? Why is it so much more lucrative? What does it require out of you guys? Is it more intensive? Yeah. Is it okay? So what do you have to deal with?
With a long-term tenant, you basically are hands off. They take care of it. If they run out of toilet paper, it's on them to go get more. The wear and tear on the unit is higher. So when they move out, you may need to collect that security deposit to replace anything that's been broken or damaged or worn.
So it's more and even intensive on the wear and tear for a longer term than a short term. Okay.
But that's by location. We are in a vacation town. We have a lot of tourism. We have a lot of outdoor dining, outside dining. We have a lot of people that visit and they won't even use the kitchen as
it's like a storage facility for the belongings. They're
tell
coming in, they're dumping.
Yep.
They're running out. They're going to enjoy the city. They're going out to eat. They're coming back. They're sleeping.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yep. It's basically how you would treat a hotel room. You're not cooking in hotel rooms. Now, occasionally we've had some week-long guests who we can tell they've used the stove at some point. So maybe this Airbnb is very close to the Joe Patty's Fish Market. So maybe they decided to visit that landmark, get some fish and try it. But generally, very little wear and tear on the unit compared to someone who's there full-time every day.
Now, so obviously weighing these out, and before you guys even got the space to market, what did you guys have to do to prepare that space? I mean, obviously we talk about furnishing. I mean, how extensive do you go with that? What kind of additional things that maybe you guys didn't think of that you needed that you ended up was kind of nice to have? Yeah. What was that like?
So the main thing is why rent this apartment at all? So if we're a guest and we're coming to a town that has beautiful hotels, prime locations, why choose to be 5 minutes walk to the west a little bit more? So we knew we had one advantage, private parking. Parking is a premium downtown.
Right.
Most hotels have parking, but some of them don't. You have to park into a paid parking lot. So this has its own parking. No hotels in the vicinity of downtown offer a kitchen. So if you were someone who wanted to experience cooking some of the local,
like you said, Joe Patty's, you come down here for fresh seafood. We are in Florida, coastal.
Yep. Okay. So we knew we had that going for us, but we really wanted to make it stand out in a sea of other Airbnbs. So we really thought Instagram or social media worthy. So when we set out to build a theme for the Airbnb, we really wanted to do a big full wall mural of the sunset was what we chose. Very beach oriented. All the furnishings are rather beach themed, not necessarily expensive, but not necessarily the cheapest.
But just when you were going through there, you just stuck with this vibe.
Theme, yeah.
Right. Okay.
We wanted when you walked into the space, you felt almost compelled with this newer generation, especially, to get your phone out and take a photo of this cool place. You're going to post, you're going to send it to your friends. They're almost self-advertised.
Now, how many people do that?
Almost, well, I shouldn't guess, but we have seen many times where we'll see a post on tag Pensacola and we'll recognize our apartment. And so
really?
Look where I stayed. And they'll we have a hashtag Sell House.
Interesting. Because I would assume it's really great for advertising and listing the property, the mural wall and kind of making it, obviously the nicer it looks, probably the more desirable, right? But how many people would actually be posting that the photos there? I was
surprised to see it online, just generally searching as if I were a tourist. But one thing that I didn't know until I got involved with Airbnb, that company specifically, is the more Instagram worthy or the more photo worthy your unit is, the more it seems that Airbnb was posting it.
I bet, because it just makes it. It's that assimilation that you want to have a great product, Airbnb, and if you post the best looking photos, it makes your website already look better, right? Yeah. So that does make more sense, right?
And then once we got on the platform, we started realizing there's 2 tiers of hosting. There's regular hosting and then there's super hosting, which we thought was just kind of like, hey, cool, I'm a super host. But once you hit that qualification, we no longer had to really push our listing for that specific unit. Airbnb did it on our behalf.
Okay.
And it was featured. There's many email blasts that go out that Airbnb puts out if you subscribe to their notifications. And
Yep.
And we got a couple I didn't have to lift a even finger. And all of a sudden in my inbox,
but it just promotes it, right?
Says, staying in this Pensacola region, check out these great Airbnb options. And ours was listed right there.
On the main email. That's great. Because that is that kind of reactionary purchase that you're hoping for.
Right.
That people are, well, what do you want to do this weekend? Let's go travel. And that helps push it up. Before we go kind of more into that marketing, what other things does someone need to really prepare the space for? So you got it, the vibe pretty cool. Do you guys provide any ancillary type products? Like when I go to a hotel, of course I have, they have the shampoos and the soaps and, random things like that. Coffee, maybe. Yeah. You guys provide just everything just like a hotel.
We try to. Yeah. We want it to be an all-inclusive experience where you come in and if you forgot something, we have backups. Now, granted, just like a hotel, there's many times where we go in, cleaning crew comes in and we notice most of it's missing. So you just have to be prepared as a host that not take that personal. That's just the nature it is. And to have doubles and quadruples of everything.
Keeping your backup inventory.
That way,
controlling
that way, when something goes missing, it's not a big deal. Like recent examples, we had someone come in. We could tell they did not use the coffee maker, but every single cabinet was scoured through and all the coffee pods were gone. Whatever the reason.
But you guys actually do the management yourself.
Correct.
Because there is an option.
Yep.
And I had done this with the house that we had the last lived in, very close to yours. We had used a separate company to manage it for us. And we had put it on Airbnb for a period of time. And I guess I had never thought of all those things that they had managed for us, the linen management, everything. So you guys took that on your own, did that. Is that something you guys charge for as part of that?
We do. Okay. Yeah. We don't charge it in our personal Airbnb. We charge it for those that are not ours because we do manage some of the neighboring areas because they're all the same floor plan. And some of our neighbors knew we were entering into this and are like, hey, we don't have the time to self-manage. Would you guys manage our unit? And so we manage one literally next door. It's a mirror image, not of the decor and the theme, but how it's ran.
But the floor plate,
it's all the same. The entrances are the same. So we can duplicate how to get in, access stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
But we do charge for that.
Now, do you need to, from a legal or maybe insurance standpoint, did you guys have to do anything to prepare for listing it?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first thing you need to do is find out for any Airbnb anywhere, is it zoned okay for short-term rental? If that's what you're choosing to do.
Okay.
If there's an HOA, most likely it will not allow short-term rental. And that was a big issue in our previous state we lived in. Almost every small, perfect Airbnb property was governed by an HOA, and it in the bylaws said no short-term rental, which eliminated. That was the city's way of banning Airbnbs because all the hotels were lobbying against it. And
of course,
they can't dictate truly what you do with your property, but an HOA in place can. And so that's one thing you have to check right away. Second of all is your homeowner's insurance. You need to let them know that you're potentially going to have short-term rentals. And that's kind of a tourist-based thing. So you also need to let the city know. Like the city of Pensacola has a tourism tax, the 5% tax. Airbnb will not collect that in Escambia County. So that's something you have to do on your own. It's due every month by the 20th.
Okay.
And so that's something highly involved on your part in accounting.
Okay. Interesting. Because they do the same thing in the commercial world. We collect sales tax, right, on rentals in Florida. And I think there's only one other state that mandates it for commercial use, maybe Arizona or something like that. But it's interesting. So you guys are having to collect that. The Airbnb doesn't differentiate counties and cities and collect that and pay it for you. It's something you have to specifically do.
Well, and this is what we learned. They collect your sales tax for you and they disperse it as needed. And then in certain counties, not Escambia County, they will collect the tourism tax, but only Escambia County in this area, you have to do that yourself.
Okay.
So really, all in all, once we've got this ball rolling and really started seeing an income generating property, it really started to take shape as a business. And it no longer feels like, hey, I'm just renting out a room on a platform. This really feels like this is a day-to-day operation. It takes foresight, planning. Thankfully, Airbnb does a lot of the calendars, but we don't get to really vet anybody. That's Airbnb's job, but we have to maintain a check-in, a check-out time.
Okay.
And so it feels like you're running a small business.
Yeah, right. Mini hotel.
Yeah.
Right. So now you've double check your insurance, your state laws, your local laws. And now you've got this place prepared from a visual standpoint, maybe an infrastructure standpoint. How about separate meter, the amenities, if you will, coffee, all those extra things.
Little treats.
What do you do now with Airbnb? How do you actually set up an Airbnb account? I mean, I'm sure the app is super simple to use.
It's as easy as setting up a social media.
Okay, it's that simple.
You basically you log in, create a login, and then you switch to the hosting platform, and then you put the property. And they will do a good review of the property to make sure that you're not renting out a tough shed in the backyard.
Okay.
It does need to have health, hygiene, and safety. That's part of the tourism tax as well, that the city can come in and inspect. In the city limits of downtown, we even have to have a business license, a vacation rental license.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, but that's very select. So a lot of cities, a lot of towns don't require that.
But here,
Pensacola does. I'm assuming because we have such a large tourism.
I would imagine.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And so we have hygiene standards we must abide by.
Now, so pretty simple. Once again, these guys have really thought it out. It's not like they only have 15 rentals, right, on Airbnb. So you've got the place listed. Everything's ready there to go. People start. I mean, how interactive is it with the people coming in to get checked in? I mean, how do you guys set it up? Is it pretty hands off?
It is completely hands off. We have no interaction with any single guest other than on the Airbnb platform's chat ability. To gain access to the unit, the day of check-in, we give them a door code. We always use keypads, no physical keys, nothing to lose, nothing to take to the beach and lose at the beach. It's all
to minimize, right? Communication issues that potentially could happen.
Yep.
They can just pull up their phone, which they're not going to probably lose. Probably.
Probably.
Okay. So no interactions. Has anyone ever? tried to interact with you guys?
Not physically, like where they were trying to get us to come. At one time, we lost power at some point in the night due to a storm, and they couldn't get the smoke detector to stop going off. And I just kept telling them on the chat app, I said, it will turn off once the power comes back on. It's a power failure mode.
So it wasn't blaring. It was just
chirping.
beep. Like, hey,
but it wasn't like
backup power.
It wasn't like I have the same ones in my main house because I live 10 feet away. But
so yours doing
ours was doing the same thing.
Like if you want to come over here and hang out, you can see. Okay.
But no, that was probably one of the only times anyone's ever really reached out. A couple of times because it can get quite congested with all these Airbnbs coming and going. Someone accidentally parked in their parking space. And so they said, hey, there's a truck in our spot. Not a big deal, but we'd like to use our parking. So I had to go out there, put a sign on and said, hey, this is for this unit, not the unit you're staying in. Other than that, almost no communication, no interaction.
So kind of on that same issue, what about, emergency happening, where the pipes bust? Have you guys ever had to deal with anything like that?
Being that everything in this block that we manage is new construction, we thankfully have not had that. The worst thing that we've ever encountered was last summer. One of the units, the AC didn't seem to be cooling enough. I just made a call to our AC company. They came out. I didn't even have to be on site. They came out. They said, yep, pressure's low. A fitting was loose. They fixed it. And the tenant said,
so no different than for your own home. Home. Okay.
And we have a booklet inside everybody gets to have. It goes over procedures. It shows the local areas they can go explore, but it also has a back for emergencies. Who to call, of course, 911, our phone numbers, if there's anything that's not, or that's something maybe we could handle or a question. And then we list like, hey, if we're unavailable, this is your utility company. This is a sewer company. Just keep us.
Now, is this something that Airbnb helps you with?
No.
Or is this something? So you did this all, which is probably great planning, right?
Yep.
You probably minimize 90% of the times people would reach out to you.
Correct.
Right.
And that's ever evolving too, because every day or every guest might have something that you didn't think of. There's no.
So then you just update the document,
exactly.
Print off a new page, put it in the booklet,
and
just
hopefully that suffices.
Okay. What about, so you got the space, everything's is flowing well. People are checking in, loving the space. They're leaving. What is, assuming most of the time is a pretty standard turn, I'll call it, for lack of a better term. You guys get in, it's cleaned, prepare for the new tenant that's coming in.
Like all places where you have strangers staying that don't own it, it's been for the most part great.
Okay,
but we've had a couple where they didn't care about the fact that they have a deposit. Airbnb holds the deposit. They just went for it anyways. We've had some broken stuff in there that we had to make the decision with Airbnb. There's a certain threshold you want to make your claim for, and other times it's just not worth making.
It's just kind of wear and tear.
Yeah. Thankfully I have the ability to fix stuff. So one guy visually we could see we do have the cameras on the property for security for the guests and for the property. And we could visually see out in the back, the driveway, that he was visually upset, and him and his person he was staying with were verbally fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they checked out, it was an unusual checkout. We have it set for 10. They were ignoring all the checkout requests. The keypad showed it hadn't been accessed. So we didn't know if they were sleeping, had they been up all night. So we gently used the app, the Airbnb app, to try and reach them. And finally, we were able to get them out, get inside. And
so they were still in there.
They were still in there, and they had been trying to fix a nightstand. This nightstand was a floating nightstand, so it's bolted into the wall.
Okay.
Something happened. We don't know, but it was on the ground and broken. And so as a host, we had to decide, and the property owner, we had to decide, do we go after the air insurance, which is Airbnb's insurance for their guests? Or do we just take it as a loss and fix it ourselves? Because I have the ability to fix it, we went that route. But you can file a claim for any amount. it just lower the amount, the less likely Airbnb will reimburse you quickly. If it's something substantial, they'll come out, investigate. And
so if it's a real claim, somebody, torches the place,
right,
then it's just go for it. That's when you really should get all your documentation together, prepare for a real claim, insurance claim, and it's probably handled in probably a very professional manner.
Yes.
I would assume, but you're saying the smaller stuff is kind of this.
There's like
such a gray area that it's because I've had, and I think I shared this with you, where we had a terrible experience going into a place that fortunately we were visiting my hometown where my mother was, and she had decided to rent a place in the mountains. So we went there. Everyone was staying. She videotaped the property when we got there, and there was a microwave broken. And post fact, they came at us with, I think it was a couple $1,000 claim between miscellaneous accusations and claims. And it was like, it just felt like you were very much just trying to be taken advantage of. And fortunately she had taken that video. So I would recommend now when I go places, I take a pre-walk through video and now a post when we're leaving, because you just never know.
I recommend it too. I do the same. And especially now that we've been hosting Airbnbs and managing them for over 2 years, if we ever rent someone else's property, we video everything. It has a timestamp. We've seen people on the camera when they're checking out, take a photo on their phone and then walk downstairs.
Okay.
So we know other people are doing the same.
Yeah.
It's just good practice. You never know with the homeowner or the management company what they're doing. In my experience, and I've seen this on the Hostings Airbnb Reddit forum, people saying like, hey, I didn't want to make the small claim. Everyone knows that Airbnb takes forever to pay out small claims, but they're much more active on bigger, substantial claims. So there's a big concern that they'll rack up a list of all these things about their property that have been more wear and tear or damaged over the course of renting. And then they'll find someone that did enough they felt to just hit them with everything, because it's much easier to get that Airbnb claim if it's a bigger ticket item, because they'll put a lot of effort into it.
Interesting. So they'll just let that a little bit of damage to the door
kind of ride for a while.
They'll say, hey, they've damaged the backsplash here and some bathroom tile there and this faucet there. And then they'll just package this big claim up and then go at them.
Yeah. I have personally never experienced that, but if you ever jump onto Reddit and you can go to, and it's open to the public, you can go onto Airbnb hosting complaints, questions, and there's a lot of armchair advice out there, but there's a few questions that we found relevance where we're like, oh, cool, someone else dealt with this. How'd they deal with it? And
I got you. Interesting. Well, guidance from Reddit.
Yeah, it's not, you take it with a grain of salt, but sometimes it can match up to your question and the answer makes sense.
Okay, fair enough. I don't use Reddit, so I'm not familiar. I've gone on it a couple times and people just were saying some radical stuff, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah,
I don't got time for this.
Definitely gotta be careful when you take their advice.
So, kind of overall, definitely seems like a positive experience.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so easy to talk about those dramatic moments where things are negative or
all the attentions. Because how long have you been doing it for now?
2 years.
Okay.
But that's maybe 3 instances in 2 years. And that's hundreds of guests that have stayed in these units. Yeah. And almost we still have a 5.0 rating, which all it takes is a lot of people don't know this, a 4.9 rating it'll pull down your superhost status. It is imperative to maintain that 5.0.
How many ratings do you guys have?
Oh, I stopped looking at.
Just give me a ballpark.
It's got to be 50. That the last time I looked.
So you have 50 5-star perfect reviews.
Yeah, at least. The thing is though, you're not required to leave a review. So it's kind of like 1 in 5 leave a review.
Yeah, right. Because I don't ever leave reviews. It is what it is.
Yep. And then occasionally we get the one where they'll leave a 5-star review, but then they have the option to leave a private note. They're like, hey, you know what? The stairs were kind of hard for us, but we picked a second floor unit. Nothing we could have done about it. Just wanted you to know. It's like,
right.
Well, I can't rebuild the place, but thanks for telling me. Mm-hmm. And others had good feedback. Like, hey, you know what? Would love a tea option thank you for providing coffee, but we'd love a tea option. We're not coffee drinkers, but we're heavy tea drinkers. Okay, cool. So now we throw in a couple little bags of tea.
Okay. Just simple stuff like that.
But they didn't put it in the rating, like the big review that everyone gets to see. It was just a private note on their exit that Airbnb allows them to do. And we find that far more valuable than the rating system that really just works for the marketing. They don't want to keep marketing for you properties that are getting lower and lower rating.
Because that's really more of a true constructive feedback loop.
Correct.
That you're, hey, let's modify this. Let's do this. Let's make the experience better. And the other one is purely how Airbnb is monitoring your listing and promoting it.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to.
Okay. You going to buy more?
I would love to.
Yeah.
We'd get a whole fleet of them if we could. It's not, we have made it not passive income. It is in the sense is that it's a property that we own. We're not using it in the sense that I'm not in the space. I'm not occupying it, but making it where we manage it ourselves. We're very active in the process. It is definitely active income to us. Mm-hmm. And then managing other units, it's become its own little business. And really would love to, like any business, keep expanding.
Yeah. Because that seems like, I was going to say, would you ever bring on a third party management, but you guys are kind of doing that for other people. So it doesn't make sense. And at this point, there's probably a little bit of scale there.
Yeah.
You guys are buying multiple soaps, multiple towel, whatever the scenario is, and you're just multiplying it across.
Strangely enough, towels are the worst part of this whole Airbnb experience. We go through more towels that just seem to vanish than anything else in these units.
Is it because the quality? You guys buying real nice towels?
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe we need to lower the quality of the towels and leave them for us.
Yeah, that's well, at least everyone's getting fresh towels.
Hey,
every time they show up.
Pretty much.
Awesome. All right. I don't have any more questions. What else? Am I missing anything that you really wish you would have known getting into this that you just were like, gosh.
I think one thing that people do is they own a piece of property and they just think of how to maximize the use of that property. But when you have the luxury or the opportunity to choose a property that you want to invest in, is making that decision right there. Just because it's got cool features, that saying location is everything. When buying real estate, commercial or residential, when you're looking at creating a short-term rental property, the number one question is how far you are from this, how far you are from that. And that's what I think has made or break a lot of Airbnb hosts before. Is they had a good property, it was just not near what all the guests potentially would want to be at.
Makes sense. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jesse. Once again, I'm Don with Blue Dirt or Blue Commercial Properties, whatever it is that day. And thanks for listening, where even idiots can make a killing in commercial real estate. Michael, I think, would be proud of that little accent.
That's a wrap for this episode of Blue Dirt. We're here to help you build smarter, invest wiser, and create long-term value in commercial real estate, one solid foundation at a time. If you found today's insights useful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you know somebody who could benefit from these discussions, share Blue Dirt with them. Got questions or topics you'd like us to cover? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep digging deep, stay sharp, and remember, real value is built from the ground up. See you on the next episode.